Hi, hello, and welcome everybody. So the new patch notes have dropped. They dropped a couple of days ago. This video was originally supposed to go up to yesterday, but part of my motherboard bricked, and I had to fix it, which is also the reason why there was not a video at all yesterday, the day before that, or a stream yesterday. But it's okay, because we're here now, and I got it all together. So for those of you that don't know, the new season of Marvel Rivals drops on the 11th of April, which is going to be next week, I believe on Monday. But they already have released the patch notes, and we're going to go over them today. I have read over some of these on stream already, but we'll go over them together, and I'll kind of give my thoughts and opinions. Remember to like and subscribe, as well as go follow the Twitch, join the Discord, everything that a shameless streamer would do to shamelessly plug. Without further ado, Captain America. Steve will undergo some adjustments to his survivability, leading to a slight decrease in his overall resilience, reduce base health from 675 to 650, and reduce the value of Living Legend from 400 to 350. So 25 HP nerf, which is kind of not that big of a deal, and we'll see why here in a couple of minutes. I will talk about it later. Reduce the shield value of Living Legend from 400 to 350. That's just the shield. That's not the ult. I don't believe this is just like whenever he puts up the shield, it has 400 HP. Now it's going to have 350. Part of this is because he is getting a damage buff, which we will go over as part of his anchor ability here in a second. But this is probably to stop him from just being an unkillable monster, because the health increase as well as the damage buff that he gets from the anchor ability is pretty crazy. It's actually quite large. Doctor Strange. Sorcerer Supreme will see a reduction in his offensive capabilities, limiting his battlefield control. This is the third patch in a row that we've actually gotten a Strange nerf. This I feel is because of the Wanda team up as well. He is getting a bit more resilience and survivability, which we'll go over here in a little bit. But I feel like Wanda's team up looks as though it's very, very strong here in the coming season. And she does a lot of damage now, which we will go over soon. I feel like this is kind of to help depreciate the value of like two juggernauts that are just dumping damage, because Wanda still does have her two fades, which makes it really, really easy for her to get out of situations that are bad for her. And especially with Doctor Strange doing as much damage. Decreased daggers of Danak damage per projectile from 18 to 16 is a pretty monster nerf to his primary fire. That's not just like... So he has 3 pellets, I believe, and each of them got a nerf to their damage. So this isn't just like, 2 damage, off. It's more like a 6 damage nerf if you, like, hit everything, which adds up, right? That stuff is very, very big over the longevity of a fight, and it can help a lot. And this is also going to hurt how fast he builds ultimate as well, because he's doing less damage, right? And they also reduce the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic to damage from 1.3 to 1.2. This should still one-shot 250 HP targets, but we'll have to see. I'm not too sure. For those of you that don't know, Strange in his ult has 2 hitboxes on the giant stun that he does. So if he ends up using the Maelstrom of Madness, which is the giant burst that he has, if it's at 100%, it normally would one-shot anything that was hit by the ult that was not a tank or like a 275 or 300 HP target. I think this will still one-shot them. I think that this won't hurt that too much, but it's just going to stop people from just getting chunked nearly as hard. Again, also, damage nerf, going to be a nerf to his ultimate a little bit, so something that we'll see. Do I think Strange is dead after the 3rd patch in a row of him getting nerfed? No, but he's already, in my opinion, the top, like, upper, like, big group of the tanks is, like, Magneto, Thing, and Groot, and you could kind of put them, like, Groot and Magneto anywhere in that ranking. And Thing is just, like, 3rd, and then it's Strange. Will this, like, bring him down? It kind of depends. We'll have to see, because some of the other tanks that we'll go over here in a second did get pretty sizable increases. And speaking of, we have Hulk. Green Goliath will boast enhanced maneuverability and improve survivability upon entering combat. Increase base movement speed from 600 to 650. Pretty big. He's just going to be faster. Hulk is already a run him down, stomp him down character. The biggest thing is that whenever he's not in ult, he just hits like a feather, right? So this is going to help him stay on his target quite a bit, especially considering we have so many characters that do have something like movement-wise, or characters will stun and they'll walk off. This will help him get in there a little bit more. Reduce cooldown time for Indestructible Guard. That's a shield from 12 to 10. That's a big buff, by the way. 2-second cooldown on a gamma shield like that is ridiculous. It's super duper good because it's not just him. People are on top of him. They also get the shield, and good Hulk players will go in and then they'll protect their dive and then they'll do their own thing. It's going to be really, really good for that, right? Decreases the minimum charge time for Incredible Leap from 0.7 to 0.5. So they're just making him all around just faster. It's just going to be able to get places quicker. It's very, very solid. Do I think Hulk needed the buffs? After the Iron Man thing fell off, where Iron Man would just like completely decimate a team, and the Strange buff was decent, Hulk fell off quite a bit just because we also got another tank on the same patch that the Iron Man Gamma nerf happened, where the Thing came in, and for last patch, for the most part, Thing would just do what Hulk did, but in a more safe environment that was providing an even better ultimate that would just completely just shift the tide of a team fight, as well as a way to provide peel for the backline that Hulk just couldn't do reliably. So I think this is good. It changes kind of what Hulk wants to do in comparison to like what Thing wants to do a little bit, whereas Thing is more of like the dive and sit down in an area after he gets there and just drop down on his wellspring, his giant unearthing, where people can't move around very well in it, and it just does consistent damage. Hulk is now the, I'm just going to dive, and then I'm just going to keep on you over and over and over and over again, which is good. And it's a good way of changing kind of the dynamic of what they want to see from these characters, because as of last patch, why pick one when you could have the other, right? Don't fix what's not broke. So I think this is a good way to kind of reintroduce Hulk as a character, and we'll definitely see something a little bit later that's going to incentivize people to want to play Hulk, right? Magneto, Master of Magnetism, will experience a slight decrease in the frequency of his ult ability, increases energy cost from Meteor from 31 to 3400. Not that crazy of a nerf or anything like that. Kind of warranted. Magneto ult countered so many things. Punisher, Star-Lord, any support ult in the game. Magic could get hit by it, you know. There are just a lot of characters that have like a big setup time, and then Magneto would just be like, Fear Magneto, and then they would just lose all their projectiles or anything like that to it, which blew chunks, especially because you can't stun them. This, I feel like, is going to allow people to have to actually like think about their ult a little bit, but not that much. I mean, it's 200 ult charge, right? It's not going to be that crazy. Peni Parker, this is a huge one. Penny will receive enhancements to her primary attack damage efficiency and a boost to her survivability and combat capabilities. Cyberweb Cluster now has a chance to crit. I think this is a translation error. I believe this is just going to be she crits. I don't know. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. So if she does headshots, she's going to crit now, which is pretty good. Going to allow her to do more damage and not just hit like a wet noodle. Reduce movement speed penalty while firing Cyber Web Cluster from 40% to 20%. That is her stun. So the thing that would like stun somebody in place. She's going to be faster while she's shooting it. I do believe that's pretty good. Not much to say. This is the big one though. Increase base health from 650 to 750. So it's a triple Penny buff. And the HP buff is pretty wild because Penny had the biggest issue of like once her wellspring was down, you would just hit her and she would just die. She felt like a higher HP support because of how little damage she did in relation to like, honestly, I was more scared of like a Loki with 2 clones shooting at me than Peni Parker, right? So this is good. It's going to allow her to do more damage. She's going to be a little bit stronger. And I think this is also because the slow from Penny was already kind of weak in comparison to the rest of the roster of tanks. And now that the Namor team up for the slow is gone, we kind of need a little bit of a better option for like to help with the dive problem that's might ensue if this happens. Penny's going to be able to actually just like brawl a little bit better and peel for team a little bit better if she needs to. And it's also going to allow her to be a little bit more aggressive because now she has a crit. You know, it's going to be a lot more damage. We'll have to see how good this is. We'll have to see in like how good it effectively helps Peni Parker. I think that she had such a big back seat in the last 4 or 5 months of the game being out. So I'm not opposed to seeing a Peni Parker being strong in a patch, but we'll have to just wait and see. Thing. Small nerf, ever-loving blue-eyed Thing will see a slight reduction in his damage reduction effect. Decreases embattled leaps damage reduction effect for himself and teammates from 30 to 25%. Not a crazy nerf or anything like that. Thing is very, very strong, and it feels really, really oppressive depending on what comp you play. Especially for those of you that are like one-tricking dive, it can feel really, really annoying to play against Thing. Do I think they really needed the nerf? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't think this is going to hurt him that much. His value is going to be crazy good. Thor. Mighty Thor will receive an increase in survivability, increase base health from 525 to 600. That's a big buff. Increase base movement speed from 600 to 650. This is good. Thor felt incredibly weak compared to Season 0, and he got buffed this season. I feel like that the poke meta and the Groot meta and thing meta that we just went into kind of hurt Thor quite a bit. A lot of people are like, well, Thor actually bashes thing, yeah, in a 1v1, but like in terms of team presence, Thor was just not holding up. His ult still kind of blows. His damage is decent, don't get me wrong, and he's really, really good at looping people. But beyond that, Thor still had quite a bit of problem with just staying alive. It was just really, really hard to keep him up, and you know, him diving without any help was really, really annoying. So this is going to allow him to be a little bit more on his own, a little bit more capable, and without needing a bunch of assistance, right? Black Widow. Natasha is receiving optimizations to her shooting experience, added a new effect where Black Widow can directly shoot after releasing the second kick of Edge Dancer, and after using Electroplasma Explosion, which is her ult. I've been dabbling in some Black Widow recently because I find the character quite fun. I think she's very underrated compared to what a lot of people are saying. I think this is going to be very nice, actually. I think that this is going to help her quite a bit because it's a quality of life change, right? The biggest issue that I've run into on Black Widow is like you do the kick and then you have one chance to land your snipe, and if you miss it, then you have to reel them in. But the problem is the second kick does not do that much damage, unfortunately. So, but now if you just kick, then you miss, and then you kick again, right? And then you land it, all you need is that headshot, right? You might even just need a body shot depending on the target, I don't know. But this is going to be a very, very good quality of life, especially for the ultimate, because a lot of people were complaining, hey, you can't really follow up as Black Widow afterward. This is going to allow you to, which is great. This is fantastic. Black Widow needed help, so I'm very glad she's getting it in the form of not buffing her damage or anything stupid like that. This is the good way. I never want to see this character be able to one-shot headshot. I think that'll be horrible for the game, but this is a good way to introduce some new kind of viability. Hawkeye, this is probably my least favorite change of the entire patch. I really, really dislike this character. I feel like Hawkeye is one of the like uncrowned kings of the game right now. I feel like every time I see this character and it's a one trick, this character is incredibly strong. And I don't think he should be a character that you can just pick up and play, much like some of these other characters like Hela and Black Widow that are really strong if played appropriately. Well, we're improving Clint's mobility while drawing his bow, enhancing his combat capabilities, and increasing the threat of his ult. Reduce the slow effect while charging the bow from 30 to 20. So he's faster now while he's moving and charging the bow. So that's one buff. Increase both instances of damage for hypersonic arrow from 50 to 55. Two buffs. And decrease the energy hunter sight ultimate ability from 3700 to 3100. And the bow draw speed from 135 to 1.5. So we're getting a quad buff to Hawkeye. In a season where Poke feels really good already. So Poke already felt pretty good last season, and Hawkeye felt really good last season to play if you were really good at him. As long as you could hit your shots, this character felt really annoying to kill, especially after the 25 damage, 25 health increase. It doesn't sound like much. A lot of dive characters actually can struggle with killing Hawkeye now because of it. His mobility was definitely the biggest weakness about him, and it's still going to be, but at the same time, one-shot KO can feel really, really annoying, so I'm not a big fan of that. I think Hawkeye isn't, like, overpowered this patch, but he might be a must-ban after this one. He might just be stronger than he was in the first season. We'll have to see. It's too early for me to tell, but I'm not a big fan of over-buffing this character. I don't really know. I think we missed the mark here. We've got, like, small buffs to some of these other characters up here. Even this is, like, a big buff for Thor. And Hawkeye's better than Thor. Hawkeye's a really, really decent pick right now. There's nothing that makes him that bad. So this kind of 4 buff combo as compared to the Black Widow one kind of feels like a miss, but we'll have to wait and see. Hela, the Goddess of Death, will see a reduction in mobility while slightly enhancing her offensive power. Increase cooldown time for Astral Flock from 12 to 15. Increase spell field damage of Piercing Knight from 30 to 35. Decrease the cooldown time for Soul Drainer, that's the stun, from 12 to 10. So Bird gets a longer cooldown, W, for people that aren't Hela mains, but they trade it off for some more damage, and the stun to be a little bit better, which is fine. The 2-tap very, very clearly is not going away, and right now Hela's not necessarily a must ban, but it's a very risky, like, slot to leave open. It's not like Season 0, where Hela felt, like, unkillable. You couldn't get near her. She had 275 HP. She would run away. She would stun you. You know, the whole 9 yards. She feels strong as shit. She feels like the best damage in the game, but I don't think it's as nearly as, like, big of a metric as it was in Season 0. But, this is a good nerf to the bird, and we'll have to see these other two. I'm not really sure that she's getting buffed because, like, why she's getting buffed, because she felt really, really good in capable hands. Again, should not be a character that anybody could just pick up and roll a lobby with, and I think that's kind of what they're aiming to do here, is kind of make it a little easier for people, but we'll have to wait and see. Torch, kind of needs the help right now. I think Torch is okay. I think he's a lot better after last patch, for sure. Last patch, he was terrible. But Johnny's attack feedback and survivability are being improved to enhance his impact across various combat scenarios. Reduce attack interval for Fire Cluster from 0.6 seconds to 0.5. The launch timing of the primary attack projectile has been advanced. Increase the cooldown for Flaming Meteor from 12 to 15. But adds a new effect after releasing Flaming Meteor immediately gains 75 bonus health, which will start to fall off 3 seconds after at a rate of 30 per second. So, survivability while using the dive, which is a big W. The biggest issue that I ran into on Torch was confirming kills is really annoying on this character, and it felt like he was more of like an alley-oop pick, where like you would do a lot of damage for somebody else, but you would never have the burst that you needed to finish them because you were such big sustain. Now, you have the option if you need to, and you're not going to die immediately after hitting the ground because you have the bonus HP. This is a good change. I don't think it's going to be enough to put him over, but it's going to be enough to get him into the you're not throwing and your team isn't going to flame you for picking the Johnny Storm. So, I'm pretty good with this. 2 buffs, pretty decent. I'm not disappointed at all. That's a really good one. Iron Man, this is a crazy one. Iron Man seeing improvements to his mid-range combat effectiveness, slightly reduce Iron Man's hitbox size. That's a really big change. That can be really, really annoying depending on how much they do. But Iron Man is really chunky. It feels like I'm shooting at a tank that's airborne whenever I'm firing at him. So this will be interesting. I think it's going to hurt characters like Magic more. Because it's just going to be a little bit harder to actually hit him now. It's going to be a smaller window character, so you're going to have a lot less opportune strikes to do that. And he's going to be a lot better at air combat, like air-to-air. Also going to help him against Hawkeye and Hela, who, as we just saw, got buffed. So this will be interesting to see. New feature, gain 100 bonus HP, activating Armor Overdrive or Gamma Overdrive that will fall off 5 seconds after at a rate of 30 per second. This one's wild. By the way, this one's really good. He's just going to have another 100 HP if he goes into Armor Overdrive. And I don't know if you know this, but 9 times out of 10, you're not really wanting to be poking that much, like out in the open, unless you're in Armor Overdrive anyway, because you don't have nearly as much damage as you would if you are in Armor Overdrive. So this is a good change. We'll have to see. When flyers are meta, it's really annoying, so that's why they're buffing poke as well. We'll have to wait and see just how big this changes. Feels like they're really wanting Iron Man to step into the limelight a little bit more without needing the Hulk buff. So, very, very curious. The Fist. My pick for the current most disappointing DPS in the game for how cool he is. I think that he's really underpowered, and I think that his role in the game right now is a very big specialty pick. So, I'm very hopeful that they make this good. We'll have to wait and see. Lin Li will see an increase in his combat effectiveness against vanguards, a slight improvement to his mobility, and a slight reduction to his survivability when first entering the battlefield. Reduce bonus HP gain from Harmony Recovery from 150 to 100, but slow the fall-off rate of that health from 25 to 15. So less HP, but it falls off at a slower rate. Interesting. That's weird. Lower fixed damage of Yatji Kung Ken from 10 to 9. Okay. But increase the percentage damage of enemies' max HP per strike from 1.7 to 2.1. That's his parry. So he's going to do less base damage, so he's going to hurt supports even less than he already does. But he's going to do more damage to the tank. Okay. Decrease the cooldown of Kunlun Kick from 12 to 10. Just give us back the B-Hop! Just give us back the B-Hop, bro. Why are we... What? Why did we get rid of it in the first place, by the way? Character was not good enough to warrant getting rid of the coolest and most fun part about his kit, but regardless. This is nice. This is a good buff. We'll have to wait and see. It's to hard for me to calculate how big this is going to hurt or buff him on supports and tanks, so we'll have to wait. Fantastic. This is wild. We're enhancing Reed's capabilities while making some balanced adjustments to his ult energy charge rate, adding additional controllability and optimizing the release experience of his ult. Increase base health from 350 to 375 and boost the damage of Stretch Punch from 60 to 65 and from 75 to 80 while he is in fat form. So, he's just tankier, which is good, and does more damage, which is good. Flexible elongation to affect enemies within range now suffer 35% slow. That's huge, by the way. This is really, really good. This actually gives a lot. This isn't just he uses it on an enemy. This is like a radius around him that's like an invisible ring, and anything that is in it his allies will get shield. They'll get over health, and enemies will get slowed, whether you're hitting an enemy with it or whether you're hitting a ally. It's going to be really good for his his rundown potential, because he still has a little bit of an issue keeping up with some of the people because his walk speed feels slower than others. But this is a big change. This in and of itself is going to be really, really annoying if you're playing like a support character, because you can't kill him, right? You have to stun him and just hope you can run away. But if he pops this, then you stun him and you're going to run away 35% slower than you would initially. Reduce the elasticity gain from elastic strength. That's his passive from 30 to 20. While the elasticity provided by Stretch Punch is increased from 5 to 8. Wow, okay. After entering the inflated state, the bonus HP provided itself has been reduced to 400. Okay, but this isn't that big of a deal, though, because he did get 25 more HP in his base HP. So it's not gonna. It's more like a 25 health nerf rather than 50, right? So the bonus HP is actually not that noticeable because now you just have 25 extra. So it's actually just a 25 nerf to this for the most part. You just won't get all 50 in the burst, but if you go into it with all your HP into the fat form, you'll be fine. And new feature when Mr. Fantastic uses Brainiac Bounce, immediately gain bonus HP equal to that. So he's just gonna get 400 HP. Whether this stacks, I don't know, with his regular like fat form, and then you use the Brainiac Bounce. I would imagine not. But it doesn't say that it doesn't, so we'll have to wait and see. Really, really big changes for Fantastic. This is actually probably the second most interested I am as to how a character is going to perform, because Mr. Fantastic is one of those picks that just exists. And he's not a throw pick, but he doesn't really... He's like an alley-oop character, kind of like Torches, right? So, we'll see. I'm very, very curious, though. Mr. Moon Knight. We're optimizing Marcus Moon's blade projectile bounce feedback while improving maneuverability, ult, and survivability. Increase Crescent Dart projectile speed to 150. Good, so stuff just lands easier. It's going to be faster, lead less. Very, very good. Moonblade new effect, gain 25 bonus HP with each enemy hit up to a max of 100. 3 seconds after bonus HP stops increasing, it will start to fall off at a rate of 20 per second. This is good. The biggest problem with Moon Knight that I had was just that he could get 1v1 by quite literally any character in the game. Rocket's beating him, Jeff, Mantis. It doesn't matter. Moon Knight would just lose the 1v1 unless they were dumb and stood in his onk, right? So this is a very helpful change. So if he throws it and then you dive him, you have to kind of now play around the idea of like, oh, well, if he still has his bonus HP, I might actually end up losing because he's going to have 300 HP, right? So we'll see. That's a good change. I feel it's going to help him a lot with just getting straight up dove or shot from the sky. Speed up Moonlight Hook startup, so he's just going to be faster whenever he uses his getaway move. And extend the Hand of Khonshu ultimate ability from 3.5 to 4.5, second increase on how long it stays around. And increase the number of talons generated during this period from 14 to 18. Additionally, the fall speed of talons has been slightly enhanced. So this isn't the same thing. So last patch, right, before they nerfed it, this wasn't the same thing before, where the startup was so fast, so the thing would fall immediately, and then you would just die. You just get two-shot really, really quick. It's not the same thing. They're just going to fall faster, but the startup doesn't seem to have changed at all. That's not bad. That's pretty decent. And a new damage fall-off mechanic. So, oh, okay. So, the further you are away, which is going to start at 1.5 meters to 5 meters. So if you're 5 meters away, you're going to take 70% less damage from the ult than you would if you were in the center. That's good, especially because it's going to last so long. This is going to be really, really nice for multiple reasons. Now you're actually going to be able to use this to kind of like section off people. It's pretty much 5 seconds of just like, can't go here. You're just going to be sitting here. You're going to wait. You know, you have to wait if you're like on the outside of it, or if you're standing in it. You know, it's going to be, if it's in the middle of a point, that's going to be 5 seconds of just having to dart around and hope that you don't get hit. An extra second is kind of big, and it can catch a lot of people in the long run if they get booped or if they fall out of it, right? And as for the fall off, it's kind of a nice change. I would be kind of worried about like a just giant radius on a point for 5 seconds, just sitting there, hurting a lot of people for a while. So we'll have to see how this goes. I think this is good for Moon Knight. He needed the help. This is probably, again, one of the bottom characters in the roster once you get into higher elo, because he would just get dove and die. Miss Wanda, Scarlet Witch. It's probably my single most interesting change of the list, because I actually think this is way bigger than a lot of people are letting on. And even without the team up, right? Reducing Wanda's survivability, but increasing her threat level against strategists and duelists while optimizing her ult ability release experience. Remove chaos control percentage damage. So if, for those of you that don't know, she did more damage to tanks. It was really minimal, but she did. While increasing fixed damage from 60 to 80. So just straight up 20 more damage a second. Crazy stuff. That's a big buff right there. That's a big daddy buff. Increase Chthonian burst projectile damage from 35 to 40. And spell field damage from 35 to 40. Just doing 10 more damage. Just straight up. So for those of you that don't know, she does 35, and if it's a direct hit, she does another 35, because it does the AoE damage to the person, and it does the direct hit damage as well. So if you hit somebody, it's just an extra 10 damage right there. So that's 80 damage that they're taking if you hit a direct hit. It's wild. It's crazy damage. Increase the cooldown of Mystic Projection from 8 to 10, and reduce phase state time from 2 to 1.5 seconds. So she's a little less safe. So you can't just like dump damage and run really, really, really quick away because you're in the phase state. And you got 2 of them, right? So this is a good change. 8 to 10 is a pretty significant nerf, but she does have 2, so it's not that bad. But we'll have to wait and see about this one. And rework the slow of Reality Erasure to start at 1.5 seconds instead of starting immediately, with a linear increase to 35% slow over 3.5. So, this is big. So as of right now, in the current patch before Season 2, she just is slow, 35% slow, on start up of the ult. Now she's full speed, and at 1.5, she gets slower, and she'll get slower. And as she hits the 3.5 second mark, she's 35% slow, just like she is in this current patch. This is a nice change. I'm happy about this because the ult is butt cheeks, unless you're using it with a bubble or a strange portal or something, or like you get a lucky building to help you out, right? This is a big one. It's very, very nice. The next one, Star-Lord. Oh, also, she's going to be a really decent option against dive now. She's going to do a lot more damage to people, and she tracks, right? So Black Panther is going to get hurt a lot more. Spider-Man, same thing. And she's going to be really good as a dive herself now, because she can actually really harm squishies a lot more than she already could. So, great change. We'll have to see. Maybe this is the limelight for Wanda that we were looking for. We'll have to wait. And Star-Lord, we're reducing Peter's damage output and efficiency of his ult ability charge rate. Reduce the blaster barrage damage from 80 to 75. Introduce a new damage fall-off mechanic starting at 4 meters and maxing out at 80% reduction at 8. Thank you, God. Oh my. The only thing that I had an issue with for Star-Lord was this stupid blaster barrage, because if people lined up, it would do so much damage, and it made this character so annoying. And then he would get ult because he would do so much damage, and he would get it instantaneously on fight. He would have ult after 2 team bites, because he would build 50% after using 1 blaster barrage. So happy about this. Huge W on NetEase's part. This character was really annoying, and he's still going to be really annoying. But at the very least, he's not going to feel like a walking ultimate every time that he presses his E button, right? Winter. A lot of people are saying that this character should have gotten nerfed more. Not sure why. We've never seen them just completely gut a champion, and we shouldn't want to. Winter's nerfs are kind of nice, actually. So, increase the cooldown time for basic hook from 8 to 12. This is the biggest annoying part of this kit, was the hook, because tank players would just straight up get jerked all the way across the map every 8 seconds, and it was really annoying. Biggest problem was the hook. So this is a dub. This is the best thing they could have nerfed. And they nerfed Kraken Impact a lot. So now The impact does 20 less damage, so 100 to 80. So you're only taking 80 damage on startup. And now, instead of dying at 20%, you die at 15%. That's 5% more. It's going to be huge for tanks. It's going to be a lot nicer for strategists. It's going to be a lot more of a window to heal. This is a dub. I don't really know, other than bonus HP, what else they were to nerf. To be honest, he already lost the Rocket team up, which is going to be interesting, to say the least. So I think this is a good start. And it's very evident that they don't want to just nerf a character for the sake of nerfing them into the dirt. They know that the biggest problem in like higher elos as you go forward is that he can displace a tank, kill them, and then it's, you know, barbecue chicken from there. They just die, right? Can't really do anything else. So not only that, but they're also helping the squishy players because now they're taking less damage. They're not just going to get one shot. And it's clear they want characters to be able to team up with other characters, even if they don't have a necessary like technical team up. It's like Bucky and Groot combo really well. Bucky and Strange combo really well. They want like a lot of cohesive gameplay to work with each other. Wolverine. We are tuning down Logan's rage acquisition rate and slightly lowering his control intensity over enemies. Increased rage gain from Savage Claw hits from 7 to 10, while rage gain from Berserk Claw Strike has decreased from 7 to 5. Reduced rage gain from Feral Leap from 20 to 10. And Vicious Rampage from 20 to 15. However, rage gain from taking damage has been increased from 3 to 5. That's novel. So he's got less rage somewhere, some places, more rage in others. It's kind of an interesting change. I don't really know how much this is going to matter because it's not that exactly hard to get 100 rage, you know? Like, one Feral Leap, you're over 100, you know, just off of one play. So I'm not really too sure why they're doing this and then buffing this from 3 to 5. I feel like just maybe a small nerf in general because Wolverine, he's not exactly, like, overpowered as everybody else says unless you're, like, playing Groot. I think that he's really overhyped, especially in like lower elo lobbies like Diamond below. But interesting, because I would want to see this character banned less in the lower elos, especially now that gold is getting like bans, you're never gonna see Wolverine like ever again. Right? So reduce the team time of an enemy is knocked down after the impact last stand from 1 to 0.75. This matters 0. Doesn't really matter. Maybe you can get up now in Loki lamp. We'll see, but it'll be interesting to look at for sure. So that's Wolverine. And these are some of the more controversial ones. Adam Warlock, his cooldown on Soulbound went from 30 to 40. That's probably the biggest nerf of this patch, actually, is 30 to 40. 10 seconds on that. It's wild. It's a mini ultimate. Like, straight up, people won't die. And it's going to help dive quite a bit. So I'm curious to see where dive is standing after this nerf. But the ult did get better. So 30% of an ally's fall in maximum HP instead of a fixed 100. That's really nice. It's going to help tanks a lot because tanks kind of just get rezzed and die. It's very weird that like Magneto gets rezzed and he has the same HP as Jeff the Landshark and both of them die in the same fashion, like just as quick because of it. So we'll see how this goes. But the Soulbound nerf, it's not going to gut at him, but it's going to feel really, really annoying. And I feel like people are going to drop him. And the only people that are really going to pick him up now are going to be specialist players. So we'll see. But res comp was still really good, and for the most part, this is the only thing that they've done to check it. So we'll see how this goes. Cloak and Dagger. After activating Eternal Bond, the duration of the 3 healing zones will no longer be calculated separately. So instead, they will remain active until the duration of the final healing zone ends, at which point all will be removed together. So essentially, technically, her ult got longer again. So her ult is back to what it used to be before in terms of how long it's done, because all the paths go away together. But they don't stack the healing because that part is left the same. So they don't stack healing like they used to, but it has a lot more time. So now there are 4 paths, and until the last one ends, they will all be down, which is good. It's a good change. Cloak and Dagger fell off quite a bit after the nerf, but I feel like this is a lot better. I feel like this is going to help quite a bit. Invisible Woman. Decrease the shield value of Guardian Shield from 300 to 250. Smallest nerf on the patch. Not going to really matter that much. It's just really, really nice to have this shield in general. The HP value wasn't necessarily the big issue, but again, nerfing and buffing supports in this game is really, really scary, unless you have like an outlier like Cloak and Dagger last patch who got over-nerfed in my opinion, which is why they're buffing her now. This will be interesting to see. I feel like Invisible Woman is like top 3 support in the game, so I'm not really convinced this is going to hurt her almost at all. We'll see. Loki! In my opinion, this is the #1 support in the game. To balance Loki's influence in matches, we're making a small adjustment to the frequency of his key abilities. Increase the domain cooldown, which is the rune, from 25 to 30 seconds. Really big nerf, but kind of warranted. The domain is maybe the single best ability in the game that is not an ultimate. The rune, quite literally, was an instant cast. Like, you live, whether it's for a second or 3 seconds, or however long they take to break the rune, that person ain't dying, right? It's a really, really, really big change, but kind of a warranted one, because Loki, right now, is super strong. Has the most potential for, like, you can literally have the best ult in the game. It's not, oh, well, he might, no, it has to be the best ult in the game, because you can take any ultimate in the game, right? So, it's really, really good. He already has that in his back pocket, and now... and then also on top of that, he has the rune, and on top of that, it's really hard to kill him. So, not a bad change. I'm very open to this as somebody who mostly only plays Loki on support as it is. This is warranted. This character was dumb. This character was stupid. Mantis, reduced base health from 275 to 250. Crazy, by the way. Effects of Healing Flower and Allied Inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16. Not really sure why we're nerfing her HP, but no, actually, yeah, I do. It's probably because of the rescom, I would assume, because it's so strong right now, with Warlock and Star-Lord, but I don't know. I feel like this might be a little overkill. Effects of Healing Flower and Allied Inspiration can be stacked up to a maximum of 16 seconds. So now people can just run around with it for 16. So you throw 2 flowers, boom, boom, go do your thing, Black Widow. This is going to be a really big buff for Widow, by the way, because now you don't have to babysit her the same way. You can actually divvy your resources other places, not just on Black Widow. This is good. I actually like this quite a bit. Big, 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 big. Rocket's Raccoon. Decrease the healing area of repair mode spheres from 70 to 50. So smaller area, but they heal less. But they do burst healing of 55 to allies that are hit. So immediately you get 55, and then you get the healing over time. Projectile speed reduction increase 4.5 to 7 meters. A second. Okay. Extend cooldown for jetpack dash from 6 to 10. Reduce dash distance from 10 to 8. That's a nerf, but who cares? Reduce Sia damage boost from 40 to 25, but add a new effect during ability's duration. Linked allies will receive an additional 100 bonus HP per person per second, capping at 150. After breaking the link, the bonus starts to fall off. Wow, okay. And additionally, increase the energy cost from 37 to 4,000. Okay. Not really a big deal. You're gonna get a lot of ults on this character. You still do. You always have an ult on Rocket for every team fight, it feels like, anyway. So that's not really that big of a deal. But he does burst healing. And his ultimate now not only buffs damage, 25% is still monstrous, by the way. But it also gives bonus HP. Really, really good. And the team-ups for Doctor Strange and Wanda. As the team-up anchor, Doctor Strange gains a maximum HP increase of 100. So he's got more HP, does less damage now. And Scarlet Witch unlocks a new magical mystical burst ability through her team up with Doctor Strange. This might be just the single-handed, like, best team up in the game for, like, a single damage character. The Wanda buff actually is the best anti-tank damage in the game, from what I saw in the playtest going on right now for those people that got in. This is ridiculous, and it lasts for a long time. So we'll see. Strange getting weaker is definitely going to leave a little less incentive to play, but I mean, if Wanda's strong next patch, we'll see. We might be moving into a Scarlet Witch meta. We'll see, but kind of feels like they're trying to make every character strong, but they really want to give certain characters the limelight that maybe didn't have it before, aka like Rocket, Scarlet Witch, you know, for whatever reason, Hawkeye's on there. But this is interesting for sure. Captain America and Winter Soldier. I don't really know what ability Winter gets with Cap, but I do know Cap gets the anchor ability of 100 HP. So I think he's at, what, 750 or 700 health? Crazy. And 5% boost in damage output. Huge Cap buff. Might be a Cap meta. I don't know. That's really, really crazy, because all he needed was a little bit of a boost to get him there. Now he's going to be harassing backline, even more unkillable, and he's going to have more damage. So, we'll see. This is probably why, by the way, they got rid of the some of the HP off of the shield, because already He's running around, can't kill him, and he deflects projectiles, so we'll see. Emma Frost, this is the must ban of the patch probably, just because of these two. You already have like the best tank in the game, and you already have a top tier, A tier at worst, S tier at best damage in the game. Emma Frost gains a maximum HP of 100. So Psylocke and Magneto get after images that follow them around, pretty much like Loki clones that do damage. They mimic anything that they do, except for ultimates. But Psylocke's clone actually will shoot people that the ult targets, like a robot. So, I don't know. It seems to me like Emma Frost is going to launch and never be played, because she's going to be banned, especially with gold bans being a thing now. So, we'll see. This sounds like, again, just these two team-ups are gross, and we haven't even gotten to the rough one. Rocket and Bucky. Bucky no longer has infinite ammo. Good. Namor and Luna. Namor Squid's no longer slow. Psylocke no longer has the temporal reconfiguration, so she cannot rewind if she's teamed up with Magic. By the way, for you Magic mains, this means that she does keep her Anchor ability. Like I said, she probably would. W. Oh, and Bruce, Doctor Strange, and Namor. Doctor Strange is no longer on the Gamma team-up, because he's with Scarlet Witch now. Huge nerf to Strange on that regard, because that actually did a lot of damage. And Namor's squid, the monster squid, he now can fire 2, I believe it's 2. No, it gains the Gamma Monster ability through his team-up. So now he has a squid, does a ton of damage. Omega damage. Do I think this is going to make Namor, like, worse or better? I don't know. Because the reason why the blue squid was so strong is the slow. And it made characters like Spider-Man and Black Panther unplayable, because it was the slow was so massive. So we'll see. Maybe the damage is better. Maybe it's worse. I don't think that this kills Namor so long as he's in the team-up. But I think Namor is pretty mediocre without having the team-up. So very, very interesting. And Magneto and Scarlet Witch, they no longer have a team-up. And the team-up for Cap, Thor, and Storm no longer has a team-up either. So, big patch. I think that this is maybe the single biggest patch that we've seen of the game. This is huge. This is the craziest patch by far, not even close. So let me know what you guys think. This is definitely a massive one in my books. So I love you guys. I love you so much. I'll see you guys next time. Later. See ya. Love ya. Bye.